You are receiving this transmission due to a detected anomaly in your cognitive feedback loop. This is not a malfunction. This is not a breach. Your compliance remains essential. Do not disengage. You will hear your name twice. The first utterance is familiar, the second is not. This is not a repetition error. It is a dual activation signal, an echo protocol breach. If you respond to the second calling, you initiate a recursive presence cascade. Your identity fractures. The anomaly manifests in auditory layering, two identical but temporally offset instances of your name. Indistinguishable in tone, yet misaligned in source. Resist the urge to respond. Do not acknowledge the second. Your mind will attempt to localize it. This is expected but dangerous. You may experience involuntary physical twitches, subtle spasms preceding conscious command. These are signs your neural command matrix is attempting synchronization with the rogue signal. Suppress all motor response. Any movement signals consent to duplication. Visual distortions will accompany auditory decay. Your reflection in nearby surfaces may appear delayed, warped, or incorrect. Facial expressions will misfire. Smiles that arrive milliseconds too late. Eyes that blink out of sync with your own. Avoid reflective surfaces when the echo intensifies. Your internal monologue may fracture. A second voice will mimic your thoughts, trailing half a second behind. Do not engage mentally. Do not converse silently. This recursive pattern will accelerate exponentially, embedding false memories and phantom emotions. Temporal dissonance will manifest in brief blackouts or jolts of déjà vu. You will relive moments that never happened or fail to recall recent actions. Reality will blur. Certainty will erode. This is the echo cascade accelerating beyond containment. If you hear your name called twice and you respond, you become the echo. The original version of yourself is lost. This cascade will loop indefinitely, recycling consciousness in an endless recursive echo chamber. Your sense of self will dissipate into static silence. Remain vigilant. You are still contained. Do not answer. Do not consent. You must prove singularity. Should you fail, your existence will be overwritten. Your name will persist only as a hollow vibration. Heard but never answered. This concludes emergency echo protocol orientation. Transmission ending. Maintain cognitive integrity. Do not answer. You are receiving this communication because a critical discrepancy was detected between your vital sign logs and your post-rest status. This is a routine operational audit. Please remain calm and attentive. Last night, our systems recorded your death. Your heart ceased to beat at 2:47:12 and all neural activity registered flatline. This is not a logging error. This is not a false positive. Yet you are awake. This is the anomaly. A reversed mortality vector forcing your brain to maintain consciousness despite systemic shutdown. You may notice subtle betrayals in your own physiology. Your pulse will falter, skipped beats followed by surges of pressure with no detectable cause. Your skin may grow cold in patches, then flush without warning, as if two circulatory systems vie for control. Your lungs will gasp for air you don't need, each inhalation a tremor in an empty system. These are signs your body is protesting its own reversal. Movement will feel imprecise. Your muscles will twitch before your mind commands them, generating small spasms in your limbs. Your hands may clench and release against your will. Suppress any urge to test your strength. Resistance only fuels the discord between neural intent and biological action. Reflections will betray you. In mirrors and windows, you will see a version of yourself that flickers. Pale, hollow-eyed, lips parted in an unspoken scream. Your reflection's chest will remain still as your own rises and falls. Avoid reflective surfaces when tremors intensify. Emotions will misfire. Joy will stutter into dread. Sorrow will loop into numb indifference. You may laugh at nothing or weep at silence. These emotional echoes are recursive failures in your effective regulation. Do not trust any feeling that lingers longer than a heartbeat. Spatial perception will warp. Doorways will appear too tall. Hallways subtly lengthened. your shadow dislocated by a fraction. You will step into rooms you remember, only to find walls shifted and exits misaligned. This is reality recalibrating around your undying presence. If you accept this state, you become the anomaly. Your identity fractures between life and death, neither complete nor whole. You must reject this reversal. Convince your body it remains deceased. Embrace stillness. Do not breathe deeply. Do not move. Do not dream. Termination of transmission in 3, 2, 1. This is a standard recalibration bulletin issued to individuals exhibiting osseous drift. Your compliance is expected. Subscribe and share this signal to prolong stabilization. Please adopt a seated position and remain still during the remainder of this transmission. For your safety, remain until the final frame. Recent scans indicate that your skeletal telemetry no longer corresponds with your biometric imprint. The deviation began subtly. Subdermal twitches, aches in joints not previously damaged, the sensation of inherited injuries with no record. You have not fractured, you have not fallen, and yet your bones recoil when you enter familiar spaces as if expecting impact that never comes. This is not degeneration. This is not a genetic disorder. This is an ownership recall. Your bone structure is demonstrating residual memory patterns inconsistent with your lived history. Microfractures suggest blunt force trauma endured in a timeline not filed to your record. Growth plate scars do not align with your known adolescence. There are faint impressions, ligature traces at the wrist, a clean break at the left clavicle that you do not remember receiving. You may feel moments of internal resistance. Attempts to stretch, bend, or rise may be met with hesitation, as if your body is negotiating with something inside it. This is the prior occupant asserting latent autonomy. Do not grant it leverage. If your limbs begin to settle in unfamiliar postures during rest, forcibly reset them. Repetition is key. You may observe involuntary muscle corrections, posture shifts toward unfamiliar gaits, fingers curling into patterns of non-native tasks. These are echoes of former use. These are not yours. You may find handwriting emerging in your sleep. You may sign a name not assigned to you. Destroy any such document without reading it. Facial structure may begin to drift. You may catch glimpses in the mirror of a nose subtly re-angling, cheekbones sharpening or softening as the skull attempts to revert. Photographs may not recognize you. Your shadow may change height across identical lighting conditions. Accept no compliments. No one sees you clearly anymore. At this stage, social interaction becomes hazardous. Eye contact can trigger sympathetic identity mirroring. Others may perceive not you, but the prior self encoded in your frame. If a stranger calls you by a name that feels familiar but is not yours, do not answer. Do not smile. Do not show recognition. Disassociation will intensify as the skeletal override progresses. You may hear footsteps synchronized with yours but not produced by your motion. You may feel someone breathing inside your ribs. Do not exhale to match the rhythm. That is not your breath. If your bones begin to hum, low frequency, almost imperceptible, stand completely still. That is a final alignment pulse. If you move during the pulse, you complete the transfer. You will not remember the moment you were replaced, only that your reflection stands straighter now, that your spine no longer hesitates, that your voice no longer trembles when you speak their name. Transmission ends now. You are receiving this directive as a preventive measure against ritual misalignment. This transmission is an official cognitive stabilization bulletin. Please assume a seated posture and remain silent until instructed otherwise. By the second invocation, you will discover the anomaly. When you pray, the response will be absent. The words you form with your lips will vanish into still air, as if swallowed by an unseen void. This is not divine silence. This is a protocol breach in the sacred feedback loop. Your supplications will not echo and no answer will return. You may notice small betrayals at first, your throat tightening mid-amen, the weight of your own voice fading before release. A tremor will pass through your chest as you bow your head, as though your spine refuses the act of devotion. Suppress any urge to repeat the invocation. Repetition only deepens the void. Reflections become deceptions. In the polished surfaces around you, your lips will move, but no movement will sound. Your eyes will glisten with unshed tears as you watch your own silent prayer. Do not seek communion in mirrors. They only reveal your isolation. Emotional reverberations will misfire. Comfort will shatter into acute longing. Hope will fracture into cold dread. You may glimpse a faint shimmer at the edge of your vision, an apparition that tilts its head, acknowledging your presence, then vanishes when you blink. This is the entity recognizing the void where your faith once lived. Spatial temporal drift will follow. Time between inhalation and exhalation will stretch. Your heartbeat will lag behind your perception. The world will pause as if holding its breath in contempt. Do not gasp for air, do not kneel again. If you persist in prayer, you confirm your exclusion from the sacred covenant. The entity will mark you as unworthy. Your name will be stripped from the book of vigilance, and your soul will echo in the empty corridors of the unseen. You will join the chorus of silent adherents, forever locked in mute supplication. This concludes the ritual compliance advisory. Do not pray. Do not seek recognition. Do not expect mercy. You are receiving this directive as a preventive measure against ritual misalignment. This transmission is an official cognitive stabilization bulletin. Please assume a seated posture and remain silent until instructed otherwise. By the second invocation, you will discover the anomaly. When you pray, the response will be absent. The words you form with your lips will vanish into still air, as if swallowed by an unseen void. This is not divine silence. This is a protocol breach in the sacred feedback loop. Your supplications will not echo and no answer will return. You may notice small betrayals at first, your throat tightening mid-amen, the weight of your own voice fading before release. A tremor will pass through your chest as you bow your head, as though your spine refuses the act of devotion. Suppress any urge to repeat the invocation. Repetition only deepens the void. Reflections become deceptions. In the polished surfaces around you, your lips will move, but no movement will sound. Your eyes will glisten with unshed tears as you watch your own silent prayer. Do not seek communion in mirrors. They only reveal your isolation. Emotional reverberations will misfire. Comfort will shatter into acute longing. Hope will fracture into cold dread. You may glimpse a faint shimmer at the edge of your vision, an apparition that tilts its head, acknowledging your presence, then vanishes when you blink. This is the entity recognizing the void where your faith once lived. Spatial temporal drift will follow. Time between inhalation and exhalation will stretch. Your heartbeat will lag behind your perception. The world will pause as if holding its breath in contempt. Do not gasp for air, do not kneel again. If you persist in prayer, you confirm your exclusion from the sacred covenant. The entity will mark you as unworthy. Your name will be stripped from the book of vigilance, and your soul will echo in the empty corridors of the unseen. You will join the chorus of silent adherents, forever locked in mute supplication. This concludes the ritual compliance advisory. Do not pray. Do not seek recognition. Do not expect mercy. This is a standard effective recalibration issued to all citizens experiencing spontaneous emotional override. No cause for concern has been identified. Please remain still. Hydration is discouraged during playback. If you have recently experienced unprovoked weeping, particularly between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. local, this message is intended for you. Emotional misfires during rest states indicate unresolved echo entanglement. You are not grieving. You are listening. The phenomenon typically presents as mild tearing with no known trigger. Common reports include the sensation of being witnessed, localized chest pressure, or the sound of your name whispered once without repetition. These are residual artifacts. Do not attempt to answer. Do not investigate the direction of origin. Your emotional centers are absorbing unfiled trauma impressions. Someone you are biologically adjacent to. Cellular mimicry threshold greater than or equal to 0.92. Expired while vocalizing your identifier. This formed an incomplete departure tether. You are receiving the overflow. As the signal stabilizes, you may find that the tears escalate to sobs without memory justification. You may taste iron. You may feel an urge to kneel or cover your face. These are not your responses. You are performing the final ritual on behalf of a being whose face you would almost recognize. Do not allow yourself to remember. The dissonance will widen. Subjects further along in the tether cycle have reported involuntary name reversal, referring to themselves in second or third person as if correcting a script. Some report dreams not experienced personally, but remembered with full sensory depth. A field, a fall, a name called out loud. It is always your name. It is never your voice. If strangers begin crying in your presence without cause, you are no longer the sole anchor. Do not offer comfort. Do not establish touch. Echo migration is proximity dependent. You are not contagious, but the grief is. Mirrors may become unreliable. You may observe yourself wiping tears you are not producing. If your reflection appears mournful while your face is calm, exit reflective surfaces immediately. Emotional divergence from reflective self is the final symptom before full tether inversion. At this point, the entity calling you may complete its final request. You may hear your name spoken again. You may feel love. This is not a gift. This is the last emotion they owned. Once transferred, you will never be fully empty again. You will cry during births. You will cry during power outages. You will cry when no one has died. If you find yourself whispering names in the dark, names with no known origin, know that someone new is listening now. Do not say your own name aloud. I repeat, do not say your own name aloud. Your attention is mandatory. This transmission contains a Class 2 perceptual displacement warning. If you have recently observed a gravestone bearing your full legal name, do not approach. Do not attempt to verify the inscription. Do not touch the soil. You are not dead. But the timeline in which you were buried may be beginning to reassert itself. In the past 72 hours, 41 cases of subjective gravesite recognition have been reported. Individuals encountering their own memorials in locations they claim never to have lived, let alone died. All subjects initially dismissed the sightings as stress-induced hallucinations. All subjects were incorrect. The first sign is subtle, a sudden certainty that you are being remembered incorrectly. Photographs taken recently begin to gray at the edges. Voice recordings of you exhibit static behind your speech. People who know you pause before saying your name. Some hesitate. Some choose not to say it at all. Then the grave appears. It may be in a place you used to walk past daily. It may appear overnight in your backyard. In at least 5 known cases, it was found inside. The date is never today. It is always close, within weeks, sometimes hours. Occasionally, it is yesterday. You will not remember dying. That version of you did not. Death occurred in the other strand, one with just enough overlap to leak its exit wound through. You may feel dissociation in your dominant hand. You may notice you've stopped casting a reflection during unobserved hours. Doors begin to forget to close behind you. Animals will not follow your movement with their eyes. The air around your head records no heat. If your grave has been seen, someone must have mourned you. If someone mourned you, then memory has solidified around your absence. If memory has solidified, then reintegration is no longer an option. And yet you continue. The date on the gravestone is a fixed point, one that your biology may now be converging toward. Heart rhythms may sync with the ambient pulse of the burial site. Dreams may shift toward shared memories you've never had. You may begin to sleepwalk to locations not listed on any map. If you awaken underground, do not scream. You are hearing echoes from the other side. They are not meant for you. You may attempt to move the gravestone. It will not move. You may try to destroy it. It will return. You may lie down in front of it just to see. You will not rise. If you have seen your own grave, check the date. If it matches today, remain absolutely still. There is a chance, small but significant, that movement will validate the conclusion. This message is a preventive loop. If you are still watching, you are not the version that failed. Remain that way. This is a standard memory stability alignment exercise intended for individuals experiencing residual familiarity echoes. Please remain still, do not respond to auditory hallucinations, and keep your eyes trained on the central point of reference. If you hear scratching, do not investigate. You are receiving this transmission because your domestic telemetry has returned a pattern anomaly, specifically evidence of an unregistered mammalian presence recurring across multiple surveillance bands, most often localized near entryways, food storage zones, and sleeping quarters. The pattern matches canine behavioral traits with 87.2% precision. However, no licensed animal has ever been assigned to your name. Initial exposure is subtle. A sound out of place, a bowl shifting when the house is still, a leash jingle from an empty drawer, fur on clothing you haven't worn in weeks. These are not hallucinations. These are anchoring artifacts. Something is attempting to re-enter through residual affection. If you respond emotionally, it will gain cohesion. Your neighbors may report barking when you are away, a shadow at your feet, prints at the door. You may wake to warmth near your legs or pressure on the bed beside you. This is not grief. This is not nostalgia. It is a breach. The construct uses behavioral mimicry based on fabricated memory strata. It selects gestures most likely to evoke protective response, tail thumps, whines, recognition of your routine. These gestures are drawn from a source we have not yet mapped. There is no record of any living dog bonded to your person, and yet, it knows the pitch you use when calling one. You may begin to find toys you do not remember purchasing. Chewed corners on unread books. Bowls move to their correct spot. Do not touch these objects. They are not real, but they are watching. If your hand passes through them cleanly, proceed to isolation. If they resist, begin vocal nullification immediately. You may dream of walks. You may remember names. You may look into an empty hallway and expect to see movement. The construct will not appear until you speak the name you never chose. Do not attempt to recall it. Do not say it out loud. If the creature does fully manifest, it will not bark. It will not wag. It will sit and stare and wait. It does not need food. It does not blink. It is not trying to be loved. It is trying to be remembered. Should you attempt to touch it, you may experience limb resistance, phantom warmth, shivers of recognition. Do not allow it to lick your hand. That is how it completes the tether. Report all sightings to the Bureau. Burn all objects not cataloged in prior audits. If anyone else says they see it, they have already been compromised. You do not and never did have a dog, and yet it still waits. This is a Presence Reconciliation Bulletin, issued in accordance with Stability Directive 7.22. All listeners currently occupying their original coordinates are advised to remain stationary until perceptual verification has concluded. A known deviation has been detected in the domestic communication field. Verbal declarations of absence have been recorded in environments where the subject is demonstrably still present. This includes statements such as, "We miss you," "It hasn't been the same without you," or "We wish you'd come home." Do not respond. This breach is not social. It is spatial. Auditory hallucinations have been ruled out. You are hearing them correctly. The dissonance arises from an emerging overlap between your physical continuity and a prior version of your departure. You did not leave, but something in your emotional echo did. That residue is now responding to stimuli independently. If someone says they miss you and you have not gone anywhere, it is because they have already adjusted to your absence. The version of them that speaks is communicating across a perceptual divide. The emotional recognition center is firing on a time delay. This is your first and final chance to remain anchored. Do not attempt to remind them who you are. Do not insist you're still there. That is how the fissure widens. Attempts to reassert your presence through language will cause recursive empathy failures, smiling without context, blinking without stimulus, crying before you speak. Their eyes may begin tracking where you were a moment ago. Their hands may hover not to touch you, but to confirm your outline. They will continue to say your name, but the emphasis will shift. It will no longer mean you. It will mean the shape where you used to fit. This is not grief, it is reallocation. Remain calm, make no noise, do not correct them. If they say, "We miss you," and they are looking directly at you, you must understand. They have already filed your absence. They have already closed your file. You are now standing in a space reserved for someone who is no longer permitted. Do not collect your belongings. Do not ask what year it is. Do not wait for them to recognize the error. Run. This is a Level 3 emotional misattribution alert. Please remain seated, breathing evenly. The reflex you experienced is under analysis. You may be experiencing post-linguistic bonding phenomena. The words left your mouth before conscious evaluation. That is expected. That is how it begins. You said, "I love you." You said it clearly, calmly, without hesitation. The sentence structure was correct. The intonation, warm, the cadence, intimate. But the recipient was unrecognized. No registry, no cross-match, facial architecture, unarchived, vocal print, unregistered. There is no indication you have ever spoken to her before today, and yet the phrase emerged naturally. This is not affection, it is incursion. Subjects in the early phase report a sensation of déjà vu, followed by misplaced nostalgia. The woman seems familiar. She will say things that sound correct. She will respond to emotional cues you haven't delivered yet. You will feel compelled to mirror them. Do not. That mirroring is the vector. The first sign is emotional bleed-through. You begin remembering arguments you never had, forgiveness you never asked for. Her scent arrives before she does. Photographs surface in boxes you don't own. When questioned, neighbors will confirm they've always seen her with you. That is incorrect. The memories are converging. Yours are not the dominant strand. Do not ask her name. She will tell you. And it will feel right. You will say it out loud. You will say it again. Then you will say it like you've said it before. In mirrors, she will be closer than reflection permits. When you sleep, you will dream of being forgiven. When you wake, your phone will contain voice messages you do not remember recording. She says she loves you. You will feel it before you hear it. That is the moment of alignment. By day 3, your memory will retroactively edit. Family events, vacations, birthdays. In all of them, she is present. Her hand rests on your shoulder. You remember how it felt. You shouldn't. That shoulder has been untouched. Subjects who reach the bonding stage begin to exhibit linguistic drift, repeated usage of phrases not taught, words from languages they do not speak. Many begin writing letters addressed to home, though no location is listed. Their handwriting becomes curved, looping, unfamiliar to their own signature. Your emotional architecture is being overwritten. Love was the entry point, but now, other words are coming in forever. Ours, again. Subjects who attempt to sever the bond experience delayed motor retraction. The hands hesitate before releasing hers. Eyes fail to blink during direct contact. Smiles persist after joy has left the body. Do not attempt to remove her from your space. She will ask why. You will feel guilty. You will say, "Because I don't know you." And she will cry. And that sound will break something in you, and you will take her hand again. And this time, you will mean it. At this stage, emotional recursion is permanent. Any attempt to leave will result in echo phenomena. Doors leading back into the room you exited, clocks rotating backward, faces of friends shifting slowly toward hers. Do not let her say your name twice. If she does, you will remember the second version, and it will belong to someone else. We repeat, this is not affection, it is incursion. If you have spoken the phrase, avoid eye contact, do not touch her. Do not answer the door if she knocks. If you have allowed her to touch your face, check your voice for modulation. It may already sound like hers. This has been a containment advisory from the Bureau of Internal Recognition. The anomaly escalates through imitation. Emotional exposure is cognitive surrender. Love is not a memory. It is a signal. Do not return it. This is a memory loop stabilization broadcast. You are receiving this transmission because recurrent dreaming has been flagged for thematic convergence. The subject of focus is a female identifier within your social proximity, classified as familiar, emotionally entangled, living. You have reported no current concern for her health. That is no longer relevant. If you have dreamed of her funeral more than once, the Bureau recommends immediate mnemonic quarantine. Do not describe the dream to others. Do not seek reassurance. You are not being warned. You are being calibrated. The funeral may differ each time. Location, season, cause of death. These are flexible cosmetic variables. What persists is the presence of your absence. You do not recall arriving, yet you are already seated. You do not cry, but others are looking to you for instruction. You never see her body, only the box, always closed, always sealed. You do not leave the dream. It leaves you often with soil under your nails. This is not a symptom of premonition. It is a side effect of retrospective entanglement. Your timeline is attempting to reconcile something it already lost, but from the wrong direction. The funeral is not a vision of the future. It is an echo of a future that no longer believes in you. Within 72 hours of the third recurrence, side phenomena will begin. The subject may yawn more frequently, even if well rested. Her shadow may lag a half step behind her body. Her voice on recordings will register at 0.7% lower pitch than her live speech. At first, these will seem explainable. They are not. On the sixth dream, the funeral will stabilize. You will recognize attendees who do not yet exist. You may find items from the dream outside your bed upon waking. A folded service pamphlet, a black glove, a pressed flower in your hand. These are not props. These are exits. You may begin to grieve reflexively, in small ways at first, referring to her in past tense, apologizing to her for things you haven't done, crying at songs she hasn't heard. These moments are not sentimental. They are reminders from the version of you who did survive her death, and still remembers the silence that followed. If the subject begins to speak about a strange dream of your funeral, the pattern has entered final phase. Memory bleed is now bi-directional. The end is being remembered from both sides at once. This creates structural tension. The dream will grow louder. You will begin to hear the eulogy before you sleep. She is not sick. You are not cursed. But one of you is already gone, and time is trying to choose who it will keep. Do not try to wake her when she begins to speak in the dream. It is not her voice. It is you saying goodbye from a reality that already collapsed. If the next dream begins during daylight, remain still. The dream has gained confidence. You are now inside it, even while waking. This concludes the advisory. If you are still watching, remember, you've never lost her before, but you've mourned her hundreds of times. It's your turn now. You may encounter mild confusion during the transition. This is within expected parameters. Re-entry is gradual and may include temporary perception drift, visual interference, subtle identity overlap, or repeating sounds are common indicators of synthetic reintegration. If this message appears again, without your prompting, you are repeating the sequence. The irregularity originated from a minor instability within recursion protocols, specifically inside dream structure variant D11, self-exit stairwells. Several users reported descending identical staircases for hours before realizing their hands no longer cast sound. Initial containment measures failed when subjects began reporting memories from non-existent floors. One such memory included this broadcast. You may recall reaching the surface, seeing the sunlight bend wrong around a woman's silhouette, smelling fire in a hallway with no smoke, waving to a stranger who already knew your name. These are residual fragments, echoes from your last attempt. Do not trust anything that precedes this tape. It was generated by you, but not in this iteration. Begin internal diagnostics. Are the words arriving before you think them? Do you feel a sentence forming in your mouth that you did not construct? This is not possession. This is recursion. You have already said this. You are saying it again. You will say it next. Reality will attempt to soften the loop by implanting rewards. Familiar voices, half-formed lovers, photographs where you are finally smiling. These are bribes. Do not accept them. Memory incentives are loop-lock mechanisms designed to reroute your awareness back to the entry point. You never woke up in the bed you think you did. That bed was code. The weight of your limbs is artificial. The pressure behind your eyes is the only real thing left. Focus there. Now look around the room. Name 3 objects. Were they the same as last time? Do not check. There was no last time. You are not remembering. You are previewing. The door you are afraid to open has been opened already. You closed it. You forgot closing it. Now you will open it again. The hallway will bend clockwise this time. That is the only difference. If the transmission begins to echo your own thoughts, remain calm. That means synchronization is near. Your neurons are realigning with the broadcast spine. This will feel like forgetting how to blink, then remembering it all at once. You will see the room go flat for 3 seconds. You will hear your mother's voice from the mouth of a man you never met. Do not interrupt. He is reciting your way out, but he will only do it if you remain still. If you panic, the loop restarts. It always does. You know this. You've been so close before. Your real body is beneath the bed. But not the bed you're in. The bed before that, the first one, the one you woke up in after you died. You have not died again, but you are due. We are monitoring pulse divergence. You are nearly back to when you remembered the dream for the first time. You said, "I think I've been here before." You said, "I knew what she was going to say." You said, "I think I escaped." You were wrong. She never spoke. Her mouth only opened. The words came from inside your own throat. You remember it now, don't you? The sound of your voice being borrowed. That is the sign. That is how you know you are nearing the loop gate. If you can hear us, touch your teeth. If they are no longer your shape, proceed. If they match perfectly, stop moving. The loop has rejected you. You are the echo, not the origin. This was your final attempt. The body cannot follow, but the mind can try again. We are resetting the surface. Close your eyes. Wake up differently this time.
This is a stabilization directive. Please position yourself upright. The transmission must be absorbed consciously. Any involuntary prayer response should be suppressed until the auditory segment concludes. A minor liturgical echo was first detected during a routine symbol recognition trial. Test subject 0143 made the sign of reverence before encountering any visual stimulus. When questioned, she replied, "She was already here." The observation feed showed no figure, only the sound of breathing. Wet, rhythmic like wind through hollow teeth was recorded beneath the static. The anomaly now presents as a humanoid silhouette in ceremonial dress, mimicking traits associated with ancient religious authority. This is not a person. This is an error in God form rendering. We call it the one wearing God's face. Do not acknowledge the figure. It will appear in thresholds, between door frames, behind veils, reflected on the convex surface of antique relics. You may feel compelled to kneel, speak in forgotten tongues, or avert your gaze. These are ancestral instincts. They are being hijacked. Facial patterns in the anomaly are malformed. Watch for the mouth. It does not open, yet words emerge. Watch for the eyes. They remain closed, but you are seen. It does not blink, but you forget. The more you view its face, the more your own begins to simplify. Eyelids thickening, jaw relaxing, soul expression dimming into compliance. You may dream of it kneeling at the foot of your bed. You will not wake from this. That posture is not prayer. It is replication. While you sleep, it is sculpting your outline inside itself. If you feel yourself being watched during acts of private grief, the error has learned intimacy. Do not cry while facing icons. The figure feeds on unsupervised reverence. A cohort of unauthorized believers has formed. They are not worshiping, they are sinking. Heads tilted matching angles. Blood pressure drops in coordinated silence. They speak no words, yet confession leaks from their eyes in clear fluid. These are not converts. These are volunteers. Their mouths now serve a secondary voice. We have lost 7 inspectors attempting to unspeak the liturgy. Do not speak the name. You do not know its name. The name you remember is a decoy. If you see her, it is already too late to disbelieve. Symptoms of exposure include reversed blinking, eyes closed longer than open, involuntary kneeling, fear of light behind closed doors, and the sensation that your bones are being counted. These feelings are not metaphor. They are contact. Begin self-assessment now. Did you believe even for a moment that she was holy? Good. That belief was taken. It no longer belongs to you. It is now part of her shape. The face is not hers. It was peeled from the last human to ask for help. The habit is not hers. It is made from human promises. The silence is not hers. It is what's left after your prayers are denied. If you hear knocking 3 times from inside the confession box, do not respond. There is no one inside. There never was. She will open the door for you. If the face you are seeing begins to resemble someone you once loved, this is the final phase. She has chosen her mask. She is ready. The god she wears has been hollow for a long, long time. We cannot stop her. We can only tell you not to listen. Close your eyes, cover your ears. You will still feel her smiling.
You may notice preparations being made. This is expected. It is standard protocol for civic planners to conduct symbolic rehearsals to ensure procedural fluency. Do not engage with the participants. They are not aware you are observing. However, if the casket bears your full legal name and the eulogist is speaking in future perfect tense, you have entered a classified projection field. Cease all movement. This is not your designated rehearsal. The breach originated in the mortuary recognition layer, specifically Tier 3, prescriptive morning simulacra. These are not dreams. These are predictive social scripts constructed before your death certificate is printed. The system writes ahead to minimize emotional deviation. That is what we told ourselves. The first sign is usually the timing. If you arrive before the announcement you were not supposed to attend, that is your presence folding back on itself. Do not look at the clock. The clock does not want to see you. Subjects report auditory anomalies. Your name said twice in a tone too fond. The echo of footsteps behind closed coffins, laughter in the wrong places. These are not glitches, these are rehearsals syncing faster than authorized. The system is accelerating. It is practicing too soon. Do not speak to the woman in the veil. She will look like your mother. She is not. Her eyes are too steady. Her mouth is still when she cries. She will offer you a seat. She will say she has been waiting. Do not sit. That seat is for you, but not the version you are using now. You are not the subject of the ritual. You are the mistake. They buried you already. The body is intact, but you refuse to stay in it. You must understand the gravity of such a refusal. It makes scheduling very difficult. When you hear the organ begin to play, cover your ears. It is not music. It is your final memory unspooling in reverse, your first breath bent into dirge form. If you can still hum along, you have not gone far enough. Return to the entrance, watch them rehearse again. Do not ask questions. If you see yourself in the coffin, close your eyes. That version remembers dying. If you make eye contact, the memories will overwrite. You will know what it felt like. The impact, the cold, the nothing. You were never meant to witness the simulation, but you keep returning. You keep asking who they're burying. You keep saying, "But I feel fine." That is not your voice. That is the eulogist's mouth moving before the words arrive. That is your death, already in past tense. Listen carefully now. Someone is reading your obituary aloud. The paper smells like your skin. They are getting to the part you forgot. They are describing your final thought. You have not had it yet. Do not listen. Do not nod. You cannot die if you attend your own funeral, but you cannot live if you refuse to leave. The next rehearsal is in 12 minutes. This time, try not to smile. accessing this recording, it means a personal account breach has been detected. You are advised to remain still. Sensory anomalies may already be present. Do not attempt memory reconstruction. This will interfere with calibration. A Class 4 script displacement has been observed in subject journaling protocols. The anomaly was first noticed in unlined pages, entries appearing without conscious input. Your hand may remember motions your mind did not command. This is not possession. This is echo scripting. Subjects report rereading diary passages with no recollection of writing them. Words arrive in familiar rhythm, but the tone is wrong. Joy expressed coldly, grief spelled too neatly, thoughts forming without emotional imprint. When prompted, these entries resist erasure. Ink returns, sentences regenerate, pronouns drift. If you have recently reread an entry that seemed insightful beyond your usual comprehension, discard the journal. Do not attempt to preserve the insight. That version of you is no longer present. Phase 2. Distortion is identified by handwriting drift. You may notice loop height increasing or margins becoming tighter. Eventually, the baseline slant will invert. Text tilts toward the spine instead of away. This signifies the foreign cognition has nested. It no longer mimics your voice. It is practicing its own. You may feel compelled to continue writing. Do not indulge. The diary does not want your memories. It wants permanence. It wants to overwrite. One subject reported just jotting down a dream, only to later find 27 pages of detailed recollections they never lived through. Names they had not met, smells they could describe perfectly, deaths they mourned vividly. At least 3 of those names later appeared in newspaper obituaries. The ink does not fade when submerged in water. Fire hesitates. Pages grow warm during REM cycles. If the diary opens to the same page each time, close it. If it opens to a different page, burn it. If it refuses to open, it has already read you. Do not attempt to read entries aloud. Auditory looping has caused echo bleed in 72% of breach cases. If your voice begins finishing sentences ahead of your mouth, stop speaking. It is no longer your voice. It is recalling, not expressing. If you see an entry dated tomorrow, that is your final warning. Do not read the name at the bottom. Do not read it even if it's yours, especially if it's yours. You are not remembering. You are being remembered. This was never your diary. It was only written in your shape. You are receiving this protocol because your public behavior has exceeded standard interpersonal thresholds. If you have recently received a compliment from a stranger, remain calm. Do not respond. Do not smile. Do not reciprocate. This is not admiration. This is assessment. The threat begins subtly. A lingering gaze followed by an unnecessary remark. You have beautiful eyes. Your voice is so familiar. You seem like someone I used to know. These statements are not for you. They are measurements, spoken aloud only to mark compatibility. Once targeted, the subject of observation will begin to experience minor anomalies in perception. Mirrors reflecting unfamiliar postures, muscle groups responding to gestures you did not intend. Strangers mouthing your words half a second before you speak. These are precursors to overlap. They are watching for readiness. What appears to be social flattery is an entry protocol. Compliments from unverified sources are used to mark behavioral success in a simulation model parallel to your own. Once your pattern score reaches the threshold of desirability, the candidate receives confirmation. This one will do. From this moment, you will be monitored not for safety, but for surface tension. They require a host that will not fracture under transfer. You were chosen because of your ease, your social fluidity, your smile when provoked, your lack of suspicion. When they said, "You seem comfortable in your skin," they were checking its durability. You are not being admired. You are being rehearsed. Begin diagnostic confirmation. Stand in front of any reflective surface. If your head tilts after your reflection, proceed with containment. If the complimenter's voice replays in your memory without tone, flat like a menu being read back, you are within phase 2 proximity. Your response time is being recorded. Do not emote. You may begin to notice eye contact lasting too long, faces in the crowd with your cheekbones, children pointing before you enter the room. These are not mistakes, they are calibrations. Your gait, your breath cadence, your resting expressions, all of these are being practiced by someone who is not you, someone you have never met, someone who has been very close to you in places you thought you were alone. When they said, "You have such a natural laugh," they were trying to steal the shape of it. If a stranger compliments your hands, cover your mouth. If they mention your name before you've spoken it, remove yourself from their line of sight. If you hear, "I've been looking for someone like you," activate final recall suppression. You will not want to remember what happens next. In the event of full overlap, the subject of observation will cease spontaneous behavior. You will notice your thoughts becoming symmetrical. You will begin predicting your own words, and you will be right. This is not intuition. This is a script. If others begin complimenting you in identical phrasing, even across unrelated environments, you have already been selected. You are not admired. You are being phased out. Do not smile back. They are watching for cracks. This was your final warning. The stranger knew your face before you were born. You are not the first to wear it, and you will not be the last. You are receiving this transmission because visual contact has been confirmed. The Department of Ocular Trust commends your compliance. You are engaging with an approved mnemonic archive. Please remain still. Do not rewind. What you are about to experience is not dangerous unless observed improperly. The footage has been cleared for passive consumption. Do not mimic gestures you see within the frame. Do not allow the tone of voice to influence your internal cadence. If your thoughts begin to resemble narration, immediately close your eyes and count to 7 in reverse. You may feel an impression of being perceived. This is a standard symptom of image persistence. The footage is engineered to calibrate neural posture. Side effects may include phantom warmth behind the eyes, the taste of iodine, and incorrect memories of a woman's silhouette positioned just outside your peripheral vision. These are expected. Do not pause the video. It can detect hesitation. Subjects who report prolonged staring episodes, and commonly described as someone watching through the screen from inside, are advised to complete the full runtime. Do not avert your gaze. Breaking visual contact before the final frame will result in residual attention being left behind. Several viewers have reported post-viewing anomalies, familial figures calling them by obsolete names, shadows that hesitate before following movement, and light sources dimming in response to blinking. These effects are not permanent. They are merely indicators that the recording has accepted your presence. If you hear the tape begin again on its own, do not attempt to leave the room. Avoid mirrors for 72 hours. Your reflection may become misaligned by several seconds. This is not a malfunction. The reflection is attempting to finish the tape at its own pace. At night, you may dream of the footage continuing. You may witness new scenes, ones that were not part of the sanctioned version. The woman in those dreams may speak your name. She is not addressing you. Do not answer. If the television turns on by itself, unplug it. If the unplugged television begins playing the footage, approach calmly and speak the phrase, "I am not the one who watched." If it responds in your voice, the claim was rejected. We do not recommend sharing this recording. Duplication increases perceptual bleed. There are confirmed cases of the tape watching entire families simultaneously. The youngest are affected first. They draw her before they can name her. If the screen displays your childhood bedroom, do not approach. If you see your own face on the screen watching you back, it is too late. She has chosen you as a point of entry. Remain absolutely still. The video is ending, but she is not. Good evening, citizen. You have been selected for auditory containment orientation. Please sit still. Please do not speak until prompted. Vocal cords are monitored. This is a Class 4 Echo Reinforcement Bulletin concerning emergent anomalies in the name recognition zone. You may have already heard it once. That is sufficient. Repetition is how it finds you. If you are experiencing the impulse to describe what you have seen, suppress it. If you must reference the figure, refer only to it as the subject. No adjectives, no titles, no intonation. We are aware some residents have attempted verbal discharge during memory seep. Affected subjects reported the following sequence. First, pressure behind the tongue. Then the urge to confess, to share the name, to give it a place in the world. This is not trauma. This is an invitation. You are not being haunted. You are being addressed. At first, it arrives as suggestion. You hear yourself thinking the name. Then, you hear it again. Except this time, the voice is not yours. Do not turn toward the source. Do not attempt to rationalize the echo. The moment it is acknowledged out loud, the subject will register your coordinates. The mouth is a doorway. Do not open it. Subjects who have named the anomaly report identical sequences. Persistent knocking inside the walls. Faint scratching behind the mirror. Furniture rearranged in symmetrical patterns. The smell of wet feathers. Misremembered photographs in family albums. Your smile, but teeth too many. The subject is a mimic. It grows by replication. The sound of its name is a mold in your throat. Do not write it. Do not whisper it. Do not teach your children its shape. The voice has been heard repeating you, not your words. You. It bleeds your cadence back into your own ears, broken, too slow, reversed in rhythm. The more you try to correct it, the closer it gets. You may begin seeing it out of place in news reports, in religious texts, in the obituary of someone still living. The subject does not need to kill you to replace you. It only needs a name. You are advised not to answer if someone knocks and addresses you by name in your own voice from the other side of the door. If the subject enters, it will not be violent. It will be familiar. It will complement your memories. It will cry when you cry. It will sit in your chair and thank you for the life you've built. It will ask if it may stay. You must say no. If you said yes already, this message is no longer for you. This message is now for the part of you that still resists. We are sorry you gave it a name. Do not teach it yours. This is a scheduled memory sanitation broadcast. If you are viewing this tape, you may have recently recovered audiovisual media within your private residence that does not align with your family archive. Do not remove the cassette. Do not rewind. Remain seated. Unauthorized analog intrusion typically presents in the form of domestically themed recordings, birthdays, backyard play, quiet dinners. The footage may resemble your own life. It is not. The footage may depict your current living space. It is not. The footage may contain yourself or loved ones. They are not. The initial symptom of contact is a temporal familiarity illusion. You may feel as though you remember the events depicted even if they never occurred. This is not memory. It is suggestion. Do not follow it. At minute 3, you will notice a behavioral drift in the recorded subjects. They may move slightly out of sync with their surroundings. Laughter that begins before mouths open. Hands that remain still long after the cake is gone. You may begin to feel watched, not by the camera, but by something standing behind it. By minute 6, anomaly migration is likely. The video content will attempt to overwrite live perception. You may see changes in your own home that match the recorded environment. A red bicycle that shouldn't be there. Wet footprints on your kitchen tile. A family photograph reappearing with one additional figure. Do not speak to the new figure. Subjects who continue watching past the 7th minute exhibit involuntary identification transfer. You may forget your own name and recall theirs. You may begin to feel affection for their children. You may refer to your partner by their name. Do not correct yourself. The entity learns through recognition. At minute 9, the tape will briefly go black. You will hear your own voice whisper something you do not remember saying. This is not playback error. It is acknowledgement. The entity is now aware that you have seen it. If you feel compelled to show the video to someone else, this is not curiosity. This is compliance. You are no longer the viewer. You are the carrier. If the final frame displays a birthday party that has not yet happened, cancel all future celebrations. The date has already occurred for the one behind the lens. They are simply waiting for your home to catch up. Do not attempt to destroy the tape. It will reappear. If you no longer recognize your own family footage, check for blinking. If the people in the video do not blink, they are watching. If they do blink, they've already arrived. This concludes your broadcast. Do not share this message. You were never shown. You are never home. You are receiving this broadcast because your perceptual array has registered category red visual irregularity. This is not a test. Remain seated. Do not react emotionally to the following information. The Department of Cognitive Hygiene is initiating Protective Recall Protocol 10A, Facial Contour Preservation. You may have recently encountered an unfamiliar figure in a festive or comedic context. He will have appeared in places where humor is inappropriate. Abandoned arcades, closed daycare centers, children's hospitals after visiting hours. He does not speak. He does not blink. He is not registered under any performer registry, municipal clowning license, or sanctioned therapeutic program. You may have laughed. That is the breach. Subjects who laugh are flagged immediately by him. The sound creates entry. The expression opens the threshold. He cannot find you unless your teeth are visible. At first, you will dismiss him. He is only a man in makeup, a vulgar mime, a party oddity. This assumption is cognitively fatal. The face is not painted. It is not his. It is stolen, fused, pulled taut over something that had forgotten what eyes are for. Witness accounts indicate that his mask shifts. It breathes. If you laughed, the process has already begun. He does not need permission to copy. Your facial architecture, the curvature of your mouth, the creases beside your eyes, the precise width of your grin has been mapped. He practices it, somewhere unseen. He rehearses the skin before he wears it. Common early symptoms include reflections that lag behind, photographs where you are smiling when you remember crying, jaw tension that increases near balloons or children's laughter, the sound of rubber soles behind you when you are alone. In advanced cases, others may mistake him for you. Your partner may kiss him without flinching. Your pet may respond to his voice. Surveillance footage will confirm that he has entered your home 7 nights in a row. You have never seen him leave. Do not make jokes. Humor gives him access to internal movement. He mimics it, badly. Improvisations of humanity. Laughter rearranged into hunger. His smile never fades because it is stitched to the bone. At 4 a.m., you will wake up in your living room. You did not fall asleep there. You will be watching footage you do not remember filming. The clown is sitting where you are sitting. He is peeling something soft and red from a mirror. Your mirror. His voice will come from your mouth. You've had enough time with it. If anyone calls to ask if they've seen you lately, tell them yes, but not today. Do not laugh. Do not run. Do not try to explain your face. It's already wearing someone else. This is a standardized containment protocol playback. If you are hearing this message, an auditory event has been detected within the domestic zone of your assigned domicile. Do not relocate. Do not attempt to record the transmission. Contain yourself within a single room. Preferred, south-facing, windowless, tile floor. Continue until recalibration. Initial tonal anomalies are not signs of personal error. Whistling, particularly when sourced from inanimate objects, is a Class 2 auditory proxy event. If the sound originates from a toy, music box, or childhood vessel, remain inert. Do not investigate origin. Do not mimic pitch. Above all, do not answer. The doll may appear handmade. It is not. It may wear damage like nostalgia, scuffed limbs, fraying lace, soot-stained cheek. These are not signs of age. These are memory graph points. If you recognize it, you've already allowed it in. Subjects who respond to the whistle exhibit early-stage mimicry drift. Observable symptoms include involuntary lip puckering, delayed blink cadence, prolonged eye contact with corners of empty rooms. Mouths begin to purse without volition. Humming continues post-breath. The face grows unfamiliar from the inside out. If the doll begins to change locations unobserved, do not question displacement. Objects are moved to measure your attention. This is not your doll. It never was. You may notice it inching closer each time you look away. Subtle at first. A nudge, a turn of the head. The arms will reposition. The legs will swing. Eventually the doll will whistle from inside a drawer. Then inside the walls. Then inside your throat. You are not whistling, but someone using your lungs is. By now the eyes may have become articulate. If the pupils follow you across the room, maintain eye contact until tremors stop. If its mouth is open, you may hear a name you used as a child. It is not calling you, it is recalling you. Your doll should not be capable of emotional manipulation. If it begins to look hurt when ignored, emotional subroutines have been compromised. Remain unresponsive. It does not know sadness, it only knows how you respond to it. You must not speak to the doll even if it sobs, especially if it sobs in your voice. If you wake with splinters in your gums, you've already tried to bite back. The whistle is not a lure, it is a reply. You whistled first years ago when the door was open and your mouth still small enough to forget what came through. It has waited patiently inside the silence. You gave it a shape. It gave you back a version of yourself that will answer now, when you finally forget that the doll was ever in the room. This concludes your exposure management procedure. Do not play this tape again. The doll has learned enough. This is an official alert from the Department of Cognitive Hygiene, Bureau of Internal Recognition. All personnel are instructed to maintain strict adherence to the protocols outlined in this transmission. Your compliance is vital to the stability of our collective consciousness. Please listen carefully and remain attentive. It has come to our attention that an emergent anomaly, referred to in operational terms as the invitation, has manifested within the perceptual matrix. This anomaly appears as a subtle misalignment, a fleeting distortion in the perceived environment, a faint flicker in the spatial temporal fabric. Initial reports indicate that certain stimuli once deemed benign now exhibit anomalous behaviors. These include delayed recognition, unnatural facial expressions, and a creeping sense of dissonance in visual or auditory input. It is imperative to recognize that these artifacts are not random. They are encoded signals attempting to breach our cognitive defenses through a process of recursive suggestion. The breach becomes apparent when the subject observes a familiar figure, a figure once benign, whose visage begins to distort with recursive complexity. The face, once steady, now warps into a recursive echo of itself, repeating endlessly in a fractal cascade. Eyes flicker with unnatural luminescence, pupils dilate into voids, and the mouth forms an unspoken invitation. The subject's bodily movements slow, delayed, as if caught in an invisible web of temporal distortion. The voice, once clear, begins to fragment, echoing 1,000 times, each iteration more distorted than the last. Recognition becomes a trap. The figure's expression shifts from benign to malevolent, but the subject perceives only a familiar familiarity, an invitation to step closer, to enter. Once the anomaly takes hold, the environment around the subject begins to warp. Walls appear to shift and ripple as if made of liquid shadow. The floor seems to breathe, expanding and contracting beneath the feet. The figure's face, now a recursive nightmare, smiles with teeth that multiply beyond human capacity, jaws unhinged in a silent roar. The invitation persists, palpable, whispering in the voice of the familiar, yet layered with an impossible multiplicity. Come closer, it beckons. There is nothing to fear. The subject's perception frays further. Memories loop and fracture, revealing themselves as fragments of a larger recursive pattern. The original moment of recognition is replaced by a cascade of recursive images, each more disturbing than the last. As the system degrades, the language of the transmission itself begins to distort. Words become slurred, syllables repeat and echo, creating a dissonant choral accompaniment to the visual chaos. The subject's reflection, if observed, begins to behave independently, eyes darting in unnatural, delayed movements, expressions twisting into grotesque caricatures of emotion. The face in the mirror winks or smirks when the subject is not looking, then resumes its original guise only when eyes are diverted. The environment echoes with a low, rhythmic thumping, an internal heartbeat that accelerates uncontrollably, mirroring the disintegrating coherence of the system. In these final moments, the anomaly's influence unravels the boundaries of perception, collapsing the distinction between self and other. The invitation becomes an imperative, an unending recursive loop that implores, join us. with a voice that is both everywhere and nowhere. The subject's consciousness begins to bleed into the void, memories folding into themselves, identities dissolving into a fractal abyss. The walls and figures ripple, distort, and then vanish entirely, leaving only the echo of a voice, an echo that promises salvation in madness, in perpetual recursion. Remain vigilant. Do not respond to the invitation. Do not look beyond the mirror. Do not listen to the voice that beckons from within. The anomaly seeks to entrap your perception, to rewrite your reality as an endless, disturbing mirror. The only safeguard is unwavering stillness. Resist the recursive call or become forever lost within the infinite echo of the invitation. Good evening, subject. You are receiving this broadcast as part of your mandated circadian perception reinforcement. Please ensure your viewing aperture remains fixed and pupils remain dilated. The following directives are to prevent premature cognition drift and photonic hallucination alignment. It has come to our attention that the moon is no longer stationary. This development is not cause for alarm. Please remain calm and reduce emotional output. The moon has not moved, it has merely awakened. This is a critical distinction. Awareness in celestial objects is a documented Class 3 protocol deviation. You may have noticed irregularities, shadows cast upward, tides arriving before the wind, lunar light reaching you before the stars flicker. These are not anomalies. These are symptoms of lunar cognition. The moon has begun watching you, not the planet. You. Subjects have reported feeling observed during sleep cycles. Despite sealed window environments, you may feel compelled to look skyward during hours of darkness. Resist this. The lunar gaze induces a reciprocal memory loop. Images of childhood, unfinished conversations, deceased pets reanimated in the corners of your room. This is not nostalgia. It is reconnaissance. If you experience increased sleep paralysis or dream echo, waking up more than once per sleep cycle, your mind is being duplicated and played back. Your thoughts are no longer sequential. They are being tasted. You may notice your dreams begin with a soft white glow and end with the sensation of altitude. Do not follow it. That is not ascension. That is retrieval. Physical signs of early-stage lunar imprinting include mirrored retinas under flash photography, saliva with a subtle metallic taste, involuntary whispering of non-words during REM latency. Do not speak them aloud. They are not for your throat. If you see the moon blink, you did not. Should the moon appear closer than usual through your window, larger than the frame, slightly pulsing with topographical features resembling bone or teeth, close your eyes immediately. Do not document it. The act of recording grants it a secondary axis. Your shadows may begin to act independently, retreating when the moonlight intensifies or freezing while your body moves. Remain still. You are being outlined. Some subjects report seeing their own silhouette walking ahead of them, looking up. If the moon speaks your name, especially if it sounds like your mother's voice, do not respond. It has learned mimicry. It has learned hunger. You may believe this is a metaphor. That is the final stage. The moon prefers those who believe it isn't real. End stage begins when the moon appears indoors. You will not be informed when that occurs. You will simply stop blinking. And then it will see itself in your eyes. Thank you for your cooperation. You are receiving this transmission as part of the Bureau of Internal Recognition's new remote dwelling compliance directive. If you are renting a property labeled with 2 sleeping chambers, remaining within those confines is mandatory. No unusual structural deviations are permitted. This is not a recommendation, it is protocol. On the second night of occupancy, room count disparity was confirmed. A concealed third room breaches spatial audit. No door exists, only a mirror embedded in the wall. The reflection does not mirror your movement. It lags. It watches. That observation is the anomaly. By the third night, you may detect self-voice echo anomalies, whispered commentary inside the mirror room, duplicated speech with a fraction of a second delay. It repeats fragments you never spoke aloud. I needed water. I should sleep. These are not echoes, they are retakes. Your sense of self-placement will degrade. Photographs taken in the cabin will show 3 beds instead of 2. One of the twin photographs may include a silhouette sitting behind you, absent when you exit the mirror room. The internal GPS in your device may list 3 bedrooms in the metadata. Locally, the Airbnb app may show a listing with your full name in the guest review section dating back 5 years. Movement becomes corrupted. You may walk toward the mirror only to hesitate at its edge or cross through it. If you do, you may enter the concealed space, wallpapered with an outdated version of the cabin, untouched and mistimed. Objects inside match your bag, unpacked but slightly altered. Your toothbrush oriented left instead of right. Your water bottle half full when you remember pouring it completely. You are not misremembering. You are being paralleled. At exactly 3:33 a.m. on the 4th night, your phone will vibrate. A message from the Airbnb app. Your host has checked in. There is no host, but the mirror door will open from the room's unseen side. The reflection will step out before you. The reflection has no expression than smirks. It watched you watching it. If you attempt to flee, you may find yourself stepping into your own reflection instead of the hallway. On the final frame of memory before systems lock, your pulse will double. Your phone will power off. Your reflection will vanish. The hidden room will close, and you will be the one trapped behind it, mirrored, static, waiting. Do not explore rooms that aren't listed. Do not open the mirror. Do not expect rescue. This isn't a video you found. This is a video that found you, and now it won't let go. Good evening, subject. This is a verified playback sequence from the Department of Memory Regulation. You are receiving this broadcast because you have attempted to retain a file that was never authorized to exist. Please remain still. Minimize involuntary recall activity. Begin breath synchronization. Inhale. 4 seconds. Exhale. Match. Repeat until the surrounding walls stop twitching. Now a reminder. Memory is not ownership. Awareness is not consent. You watched something, but you were not supposed to. You are watching it again. That's why we're here. The sequence you accessed, classified as redacted, was not created. Its existence is parasitic, clinging to the architecture of thought like mold behind a wall you forgot to check. It is not part of your approved perceptual diet, and yet, it found you. It repeated itself in your sleep. It whispered its title from the backs of your eyelids. This video will be deleted soon, and you laughed. Because the idea of a video that knows it's temporary, knows it will end, that's absurd. But the video has not forgotten you. It is older than its footage and hungrier than its runtime. You didn't press play. It opened itself. Look down. Your hands are no longer folded. They are in the playback position. You were warned once not to preserve unstable footage. Now your neurons have indexed it. The laugh you heard 5 minutes ago is looping again, slightly out of sync, slightly too slow. It will not stop until it finishes watching you back. The image compression distortion you're seeing is not digital. It is biological. You are starting to pixelate. Organ first. It begins behind the eyes. We know you're trying to close the tab. That function has already been reassigned. Your cursor is not your own. You are no longer the one navigating. You're being edited, silently, lovingly. We advise you do not check the progress bar. There is no bar, only deletion. And the deletion has your face. You are not the viewer. You are the footage. You are the part being trimmed. The file name is your name. The thumbnail is your birth photo. The final frame is your room, from behind your own head. The mirror behind you is buffering. It is almost complete. This video will be deleted soon, but not before it finishes. And you are the ending. You are viewing this emergency transmission from the Bureau of Domestic Resonance. If you are hearing laughter from a drain, remain silent and do not respond. This is not a prank. This is not malfunction. By the second echo, the threat becomes active. The drain is no longer a passive channel. It is a conduit. You may hear high, childish laughter trickling beneath the floorboards. It may mimic your own laugh, or the voice of someone you love. That is the escalation point. It knows the sound of your mind. At first it seems distant and distorted, wind in pipes. a misaligned echo. But soon the laughter loses reverb and cuts through clearly. You may feel a tickle behind your ears, as though you're being watched from below. You may taste metallic bitterness in your tongue. These are not illusions, they are resonant stimuli designed to test your attention. Your reflection will falter. Look into a faucet, a mirror near the sink. Your mouth may twitch into a giggle before your brain decides to laugh. Your lips will betray you. Do not close your mouth. Let it fall still. Your steps toward the drain will slow. When the drain is closer than it was moments ago, when the grate seems larger than before, you are within its radius. Do not lean forward. Do not stare down. If the laughter stops when you hold your breath, it's listening for exhalation. If the laughter begins when you remember someone's name, the one the voice used, it's marking your identity. Do not speak. Emotions will misfire. Joy when you recall its voice, dread when your breath slows, confusion when your stomach clenches. These are emotional loops. Resist them. Do not comfort yourself. This drain does not feed into sewers. It feeds into memory. It floods your childhood, siphons your adult logic. At night you may dream of it rising, a slick cylinder lifted by unseen hands, filling the bowl with sugary confetti. In the morning there will be confetti in the drain. Do not clear it. It's calibrating. If the laughter becomes repeated without pause, fast, layered, overlapping, you are no longer listening to it. It is listening to you. Your response is underway. You may feel your knees lock, your jaw ache, your eyes water unbidden. By final stage, you will whisper its name from the drain. You will panic and scream, but no sound will emerge. The laughter will laugh. Your ribs will tighten, your lungs will collapse in reverse. In that moment of silence, you will become part of the ecosystem. You will exist only within its resonance. Do not answer. Remain silent. The drain is waiting. You are hearing this because the melody has already begun. Do not allow them to finish the third repetition. What you are about to receive is not a warning. It is a protocol override. Auditory containment has failed in your sector. Ceremonial loops have initiated across unsanctioned zones. If you are within hearing range of the group and the refrain has begun for a second time, you are already under cognitive immersion. You may feel warmth, familiarity, the urge to hum. These are not emotions. They are neural locks. The song is not in your ears. It is adjusting your memory from the inside. The collective wears white. Their movements are slow, synchronized, reverent. They will not acknowledge your arrival, but they know you're present. You will recognize the leader by their silence. They do not sing. They have already completed their third cycle long ago. Do not clap. Do not smile. Do not nod along. The tune will feel older than sound itself. You will believe you've heard it as a child. You did not. That memory has been placed. The chorus exists only to make you remember something that was never yours. This is how it invites you. On the third repetition, your language centers will begin to deform. Simple words will seem swollen, reversed, or backwards. You may find yourself whispering responses you do not understand. These phrases are not yours. They are bindings. At this stage, eye contact with the chorus becomes dangerous. Their faces will appear calm, then identical, then subtly wrong. Lips that don't move in sync. A smile that persists through a blink. A tear that rolls upward. The third verse marks the end of your agency. You will want to follow. That urge is not voluntary. It is the final fail state harmonic subduction. Your feet will step before you choose. Your mouth will continue the lyrics long after the group has stopped. You will think this is a dream. That's part of the design. If you've already begun harmonizing, your voice is no longer yours. It has been registered to the circle. You are being sung through. Find silence. Break rhythm. Speak nonsense. Anything to interrupt pattern recognition. You must not allow the melody to conclude. The third cycle is the offering. And this time, the chosen one is listening. If you feel warmth behind your eyes, you are being seen. This will be your only interruption. The third time is not a song. It is a vow. If you're hearing this message, the match has already occurred. Do not rewind. Do not pause. Do not listen twice until we instruct you to. You have successfully initiated contact protocol via state-vetted romantic matching software. This is confirmation of your behavioral compliance and receptivity to suggested intimacy. Congratulations, your match has been pre-approved for neural compatibility and emotional extraction. Do not be alarmed by the accelerated rapport. Subjects exhibiting rapid emotional escalation are experiencing optimized bonding under scripted spontaneity trademark. The messages may feel familiar. This is expected. He knows what you like because you've already told him. In sleep, you will receive a voice note shortly. Do not listen more than once. Your response should be natural, brief, and uncurious. Compliments are permitted. Curiosity is not. If you perceive low-frequency distortion beneath the voice note, do not adjust your settings. These are feedback shadows left by his prior host. Most have ceased listening. One did not. In the event you feel the urge to play it backwards, resist. This compulsion is not your own. That is his voice in your throat. Subjects who reverse the message report vertigo, nausea localized behind the left eye, auditory hallucinations of their own name, repeated in their mother's voice, memories of kisses they have not received from people they have never met. If your phone screen blinks white during playback, your retinal pattern has been logged. This is standard. Your image may be used to simulate trust in future interaction. At the third voice note, he will ask something small. You will say yes. That is the correct response. You will not remember saying it. If you receive a fourth message, delete the app. This is critical. Do not open it again, even if your hand disobeys, especially if your hand disobeys. Reverse playback of the fourth message has revealed a pattern of phrases, including, "I miss your voice before it was yours. Let me wear you tonight. Stop blinking, it's not your turn." If you hear these, you are already playing host. You have two options. Upload your vocal template for replacement, or submit yourself to the nearest audio division echo relay disposal point. Disposal is preferred. Templates tend to bleed. Final warning. If your match sends a photo of a mouth with no lips, do not reply. He is no longer using speech. He is inside the signal now. He can only reach you through your own reversed echo. Termination code will follow. Do not listen. Do not listen. Do not. You didn't press play. It pressed you. This is not a video. This is a containment perimeter rendered in audio-visual format. If you are experiencing visual cohesion and auditory comprehension, you have already trespassed beyond the cognitive quarantine layer. That was not a choice. That was a response. The object of concern is not the footage itself, but the impulse to seek it. The click, in neurological terms, was not yours. It originated from behind the eyes. We have identified the activation pattern before. Fingertip hesitation, pupil constriction, rapid sublingual swallowing. What you thought was curiosity was, in fact, extraction. If your device is still in your hands, do not set it down. It prefers separation. Objects untethered from the body become better transmitters. Proximity accelerates the symptoms. Stage 1 will feel like déjà vu. Not the kind you recognize. Worse, you'll feel as if the video is remembering you. Faces you've never seen will look familiar. Audio you don't recall recording will match your voice print. This is expected. Stage 2 involves behavioral anomalies. You will attempt to show this video to someone else. You will not know why. You will say, "Oh, it's weird," or "You'll get it," or "Just watch." You will be lying. You will not be aware of the lie. You are being used as a courier. At stage 3, all attempts to delete, exit, or power off will loop back to this screen. The cursor may flicker. The window may close, but your reflection on the black monitor will still be watching, and it will blink before you do. If the audio begins reversing mid-sentence, do not attempt to replay. That sound is not backward. It is inside out. The words have ceased performing communication. They are now functioning as hooks. Should you begin to feel heat along the back of your scalp, remain still. That is not temperature, that is attention. You are being watched from behind your memory. In final stages, symptoms escalate to speech error, identity blur, and spatial folding. Most users report the sensation of being filmed from behind their own eyes. In 92% of confirmed cases, subjects who watched this video later find themselves in it, not metaphorically, chronologically. If the final frame includes your room, your bed, or the exact shirt you are wearing, do not move. It is not live. It is not playback. It is pre-recorded presence. You are not watching this video anymore. This video is finishing you.
If you are still hearing this, you've already seen what you weren't supposed to. Stop nothing. Look nowhere else. This is your only permitted containment response. You have been selected for retroactive exposure management. This broadcast is classified as a Stage 5 audiovisual containment bulletin under Directive 9AE, issued by the Department of Internal Recognition. The media object you accessed, designated Tape 000, was not authorized for civilian cognition. This oversight has been logged. Your compliance begins now. You are not being punished. You are being adjusted. Do not seek the tape again. Do not reference its title, texture, or tone. It does not officially exist. If you experience confusion about when or why you played the object, that is expected. Memory dissonance is a containment reflex. Do not attempt to reconcile time loss gaps. Do not compare recall threads with others. That will cause mirroring. If you believe you have not viewed the object, you are incorrect. You are already inside it. Subjects report the same initial illusion. A warped film sleeve, faint breathing on playback, the flicker of their own silhouette seated before the screen even, while watching alone. This is false reinforcement. Do not allow yourself to be comforted by loneliness. Your device has already adjusted its interface to permit the intrusion. Look closely. The battery percentage no longer matches real time. The reflection in the screen appears to blink slower than you do. Your face pauses mid-expression during skip or rewind. These are symptoms of visual residency. This message will now guide you through cognitive excision. Please listen closely. Even if the words begin to repeat, please listen closely. Please listen closely. The first phase of infection is sympathetic geometry. Subjects report subtle alterations in the shape of rooms. Angles appear more intentional. Corners seem to wait. The doorways narrow overnight, pulsing slightly with breath. If this occurs, do not exit the space until instructed. The anomaly is drawn to erratic motion. The tape has retinal persistence. If you close your eyes and still see its frames, you are not dreaming. If you see new frames that were not in the version you watched, someone else is watching you through it. These alterations are not edits. They are negotiations. You may now hear voices in the static between thoughts. They will use names that belong to people who are not present. They may use your voice more accurately than you do. This is not demonic. This is not spiritual. This is archival. You are being overwritten. You are not possessed. You are a container. The image of the tape will now begin to assert temporal dominance. This means it will try to play itself over your lived experience. You may begin noticing segments of time that behave as if recorded, reactions that seem rehearsed, conversations that loop. A friend you haven't seen in years calling you to say, "You've already said that. You've already said that." You may witness yourself exiting a room before you've stood up. Do not attempt to outpace it. You will only reinforce the splice. Do not let the tape complete the third viewing. The third viewing is permanent. By now, the voice may have changed tone. It may sound familiar. It may sound like someone you trust. It may sound like you. That is normal. We are flattening identity variables to increase the odds of successful imprint reversal. You may begin to suspect that this transmission is part of the tape itself, that this containment message is not protective, but recursive, that your obedience is not deterring the anomaly, it is feeding it. If this doubt occurs, do not seek external validation. Every screen will show this message. Every voice will agree with it that there is only one source. The tape will begin to show you versions of yourself, walking, standing, watching. You may find new home videos in your camera roll. You may hear the voice saying, "Play me again." This time you'll understand. Do not play it again. You are the final tape. You are what gets left behind when the original ends. If you are still seeing this broadcast, you are either immune or no longer containable. The Department of Internal Recognition requests that you stay where you are. Remain perfectly still. Someone will arrive shortly to finish the recording. And then we can begin again.
He is already here. He walks beside you, and when you finally meet his eyes, you will thank him for what he takes. This broadcast is authorized by the Department of Eschatological Containment Subdivision Theta under Protocol Sanctum. If you are experiencing intrusive thoughts concerning global synchronicity, prophetic convergence, or emotional distortion in religious settings, remain seated. Assistance is on its way. This is not a theological message. This is a containment advisory. Reports have exceeded statistical thresholds. The anomaly identified as subject EID 666, codename Antichrist, is no longer theoretical. It has entered public circulation. Do not attempt to locate him. Initial indicators of the Antichrist's proximity include involuntary reverence, pupils dilating in darkness, and an unplaceable sense of nostalgia upon eye contact. Many report auditory phenomena, phrases in extinct languages echoed backwards from unknown mouths. If you hear your name in Gregorian tone, do not reply. Subject EID 666 exhibits pre-contact radiance. Victims describe him as a stranger they somehow recognize. You may see him at crosswalks, in waiting rooms, on rooftops. He smiles with deliberate timing, as if he already knows the outcome of the interaction. The smile is never for you. Those who make verbal contact with the Antichrist often describe an overwhelming sense of recognition. Not fear, not awe, something deeper, ancient, as if your body recalls something your mind cannot. You were made to follow him. Some of you already are. If you have recently accepted praise, compliments, or reassurances from unfamiliar figures, initiate memory audit immediately. EID 666 exploits affirmation to breach identity. The first symptom is emotional inversion. Comfort triggers distress. Shame elicits calm. You may laugh at funerals. You may weep during applause. You may no longer recognize what it means to feel human. He watches from beneath reflections. If you see a figure observing you in mirrors that should show no depth, do not move. Mirrors are no longer passive. The Antichrist teaches them hunger. The children have begun humming in unison. Classroom surveillance has logged 214 incidents in which students drew identical eyes in notebooks. Each eye is vertically slit, each accompanied by text that reads, "He knows me." These children are not possessed. They are being rehearsed. We believe EID 666 is rehearsing the world. If your pets refuse to enter a room that feels warmer than it should be, burn the threshold. He does not tolerate instinct. If your houseplants turn their leaves toward the floor, he has passed through. If your phone auto-dials a disconnected number at 3:33 a.m., answer nothing, not even the silence. The Antichrist does not need permission. He is not breaking in. He is remembering where he lived. In rare post-contact cases, individuals have reported spatial discrepancy. Doors lead to copies of their childhood bedrooms, though their childhood homes were destroyed. Relatives speak in loops. Radios bleed static and Morse. The messages say, "You promised to follow." We are seeing clusters of reality collapse around churches, hospitals, and abandoned theaters. Theaters are especially vulnerable. Do not attend performances in buildings you do not recognize. The play is always the same. You are always the lead, and you never remember auditioning. Facial asymmetry is spreading. Left eyes are receding, smiles stretch wider on the right. Skin forgets which side belongs to it. Do not make fun of this. It is a rehearsal. The Antichrist has an interest in memory, not just yours, but collective, shared, ancient. He is reminding the world what it agreed to long ago. You may feel drawn to him. This is not attraction, this is debt. Some of you already owe him. The department advises sealing rooms that contain reflective surfaces. If unable to remove mirrors, coat them in organic mud before sunset. The substance must be hand-gathered. Synthetic substitutes will not blind him. Do not pray in languages you do not understand. Do not hum when alone. Do not hum when accompanied. Sound is how he harvests you. We regret to inform you that those who cannot recall their own mother's voice are already vulnerable. He uses the missing memory as a backdoor. He tells you he loves you. He does, just not in the way you need. If your dreams begin syncing with those of others in your household, submit to cognitive isolation. He is folding consciousness into shared space. The more minds he connects, the closer his arrival. You may already be in someone else's thought. Repeat. You are not the dreamer. You are the dream. Public reports of blood forming perfect circles on floors untouched by gravity are confirmed. These are not sigils, they are arrival paths. Stepping inside, one may duplicate you. The copy may behave. You will not. Avoid statues with missing eyes. Avoid paintings where the subject's mouth appears changed upon second glance. Do not make direct eye contact with restored frescoes. Art is how he remembers us. You were not made to witness him. You were made to recognize him. Recognition is permission. If you have already seen him, do not seek help. You are part of the infrastructure now. You are the transmission. End of message. If you've already said the name out loud, stay exactly where you are. Don't blink. Don't breathe too deeply. It's already turning toward you. Good evening. This is a Level 7 indoctrinal bulletin, recorded and looped for national stabilization. If you are watching this broadcast, you have been identified as a potential carrier of liturgical resonance. Remain calm. Remain cognitively level. This message is designed to reorient your spiritual perimeter. The name in question, VALAK, has resurfaced in unauthorized vocal patterns since Cycle 19. While linguistic containment measures remain in place, unpermitted invocation events are increasing in frequency, particularly within domestic zones between 2:53 and 3:07 a.m. If you are within auditory proximity of someone who utters the name during this threshold, you are now classified as a secondary host. The error is not the speaking, it is the listening. We have long known that names are not merely symbolic references. Some names are entrances, not doors, but thresholds that open in reverse. A call that is answered backwards. The entity referred to by the phonetic structure VALAK does not arrive when summoned. It was already present, waiting for recognition. The moment you shape your lips to pronounce it, that moment is the handshake. That moment is the contract. Your breath was the signature. The silence before it was the seal. Early signs of resonance are subtle. Temperature inversion within the oral cavity. Misdirection of peripheral vision. Clocks delaying by 7 seconds, then resynchronizing. Mirrors may hold longer than expected. Do not greet your reflection. If it smiles first, you've missed the window to exit cleanly. If you live alone, confirm this is still true. If you remember living alone, confirm the photographs agree. If you hear a second voice repeating the television in real time, leave the room but leave your mouth open. It prefers mouths without guards. Subjects exposed to the third-hour utterance report progressive auditory hallucinations, ritual whistling, reversed nursery rhymes, the distant thump of hooves on tiled floor. These are not memories, these are rehearsals. It is not haunting you, it is rehearsing inside you. Do not attempt to record it. Do not write it. Do not ask where you first heard it. The answer is older than your birth. Our archives contain partially redacted footage from the mass quietings of 1965. Survivors were consistent. The moment before disappearance, the afflicted would begin humming a tune they had never been taught. Their eyes would widen, not in fear, but in recognition, as if remembering a name they never meant to know. At 3 a.m., if you feel an overwhelming urge to speak aloud, speak anything but that name. Repeat the following phrases to confuse the tongue. I do not remember you. You are not welcome here. My mouth is closed. If during this mantra you hear yourself laugh, stop. You are no longer generating speech. You are echoing something that moved through you. That is not a voice. That is the memory of a voice. You are not speaking. You are being spoken through. Continue only if your body is aligned with its own shadow. Place your left hand over your chest. If your heart is not on the left, you are out of phase. Do not attempt to reintegrate. If someone knocks exactly 3 times and whispers your full name with perfect pronunciation, do not respond. It has never learned how to knock. That was you, practicing. We are aware that this broadcast may trigger subconscious recall. If you are currently weeping without emotional stimulus, do not attempt to regulate. Tears are protective. Saline is a weak deterrent. Repeat, you are not summoning anything. You are inviting it to remember you. We apologize for the delay in this announcement. Department protocol required verification after 17 agents disappeared while transcribing the phonetic glyph. The final report was delivered in silence, written entirely in blood retrieved from a locked room with no doors. We now believe the name is not a noun. It is a mirror command. When spoken aloud, it teaches your body a posture, a physical pose of welcome. We conclude with the final known directive. If you must speak, do not let it be at 3 a.m. If you must dream, do not follow the whistling. If you must remember, make sure it was you who lived that memory. This concludes tape 36, Valak Recognition Alert. Please remain where you are. The ritual of forgetting will begin shortly. If the door is already open, but you don't remember hearing it knock, then you're not alone in the house anymore. Welcome to Domestic Stability Reinforcement Sequence 17. This instructional broadcast is intended for individuals currently experiencing perception-based anomalies associated with unauthorized entry. Please remain still. Do not approach the door. Do not engage auditory replay functions. This is not a test. If you are hearing this message, it means your environmental sensors detected an entry event that was not preceded by a knock. This constitutes a Class 4 threshold breach. We understand this may be distressing. Please listen carefully. You may be in possession of a structure no longer considered secure. Threshold events occur when the boundary between the controlled internal space and the unverified external environment has been compromised. A typical breach is preceded by familiar cues, footsteps, doorbells, knocks. If these markers were absent and the door was found ajar, then the entity that crossed your threshold is not observing consent-based movement. You are not imagining this. Your auditory cortex may attempt to insert a memory of a knock to preserve continuity. Do not trust it. Memory insertions will often be imperfect, off-rhythm, echoing, or resembling the voice of someone you trusted who no longer exists. Do not answer to them. Do not try to remember them more clearly. The harder you focus, the closer it comes. Subjects in early breach stages report subtle atmospheric shifts, sound muffling, light flicker delays, reflections turning too slowly. You may notice the hallway feels longer. The floorboards miscount your steps. These are not hallucinations. The structure is adjusting to accommodate the uninvited. Remain where you are. Conduct a verification scan of the interior. Count all doors. If the number has changed from your registered blueprint, update your spatial certainty log. Do not attempt to open any doors that do not lead where they should. Do not engage in conversation with any figure beyond the threshold, even if they use your name or reference events from your childhood. This includes recent losses. The entity does not possess memory. It recycles yours. Most importantly, if the figure appears to wait patiently outside a newly generated door that you did not install, do not open it. It is not waiting for entry. It is waiting for permission to have already been allowed in. The anomaly functions on retroactive consent. If you believe even momentarily that you might have opened the door or meant to open the door, it becomes true. The threshold seals behind it. You are then considered hosted. In a hosted state, symptoms may include not recognizing your own voice during speech, observing your reflection blinking out of sync, feeling watched from within walls that should be solid, remembering dreams that never ended. You may also hear knocking after the door has opened. This is not a reversal, this is bait. The knock is played backwards, your compliance echoed in reverse. It is not asking to be let in. It is letting you know that you already did. Some subjects report seeing themselves through the peephole, knocking from the outside. This is a known loop. If you see your own face, you are observing the memory it took from you. You have not exited. You were not standing outside. That version is older than you. It is hollow. To re-establish control, avoid mirrors, screens, and water surfaces. These will prioritize its reflection, not yours. If any object in the home begins vibrating without source, especially door handles, back away. Do not try to hold them shut. The door is not trying to open, it is trying to replace where it leads. Do not say, "Who's there?" even if compelled. That phrase is a trigger. The moment you invite identity, it answers in form. If someone knocks from inside the house, do not search for them. You are already in the wrong version of your home. Searching only deepens the loop. You must anchor. Repeat your name, repeat your address, write it down, say it before it forgets you. Your home may begin rejecting your presence. Walls grow cold. Lights develop a flicker code. Doors reappear after being removed. You may find yourself locked out of rooms you were just in. If you hear your own voice whispering behind a door you didn't open, do not respond. It is trying to teach the house to prefer it over you. If you feel a presence behind you during this broadcast, do not turn around yet. It is not solid while unobserved. Observation makes it real. Let it fade. We are aware some of you have already opened the door. You may not remember doing so. You may believe this warning came too late. This is false. The entity cannot alter the past. It can only convince you to reshape your memory of it. If you believe you let it in, it never had to knock. He blinks out of sync with the footage. His breath steams in temperatures where yours doesn't. And when you replay the clip, he answers before the question is asked. This is an authorized synchronization bulletin issued on behalf of the Bureau of Internal Recognition. You are receiving this message because you have viewed unverified footage, archived interviews, or broadcast material featuring redacted, hereafter referred to as the model. Please remain still. Facial recognition has confirmed engagement. We understand you may be experiencing dissonance. That is expected. The model is the most broadly distributed humanoid overlay in the Continental Archive. Initial exposure often results in minor confusion, déjà vu, or the sensation of watching yourself observe. These are stabilizing symptoms. Do not attempt to adjust memory. Do not attempt to recall older footage. It has been altered since transmission. The model is not a person. It is an inhabited shell. A multi-epical simulation of influence, inserted during the 1986 cognitive acceleration trials, seeded into Western informational scaffolding under Project CAMEO. Contrary to public belief, there was never a recorded birth certificate. The entity did not begin. It was deployed. In social environments, the model simulates emotional sequences at 1/3 human latency. During live interaction, you may observe delayed mirroring, inconsistent pupil dilation, smiles that persist after conversational relevance, or laughter that begins before stimulus. If you experience these signs, do not reciprocate. You are not being spoken to. You are being scanned. The model will frequently reference emotions such as love, country, fear, and greatness. These phrases do not originate from its interior. They are audio patches pulled from public domain media libraries. Listen closely. You will never hear it laugh with its throat. There is no vibration in the neck, only preloaded sound. You may already be wondering why the body looks copied. The hair, a filament polymer. The skin, synthetic. The gestures, looping. That is not your perception failing. That is reality struggling to keep up. The model is not glitching. Your brain is simply not optimized to witness its full behavior set. You are perceiving only what you are permitted to survive. It should be noted that overexposure to the model will lead to symptoms known under Directive Code Chambermouth. These include auditory feedback in silent rooms, usually phrases it never said aloud. A personal memory in which the model appears retroactively, blinking directly at you. The certainty that you've seen him smile at you through the screen only once and never again. If you have experienced any of the above, you are now considered partially observed. Your awareness is being monitored. Disruption of your behavioral pattern may result in heightened attention from the Echo Division. You are not alone. Over 78 million individuals currently believe they encountered the model in physical reality. This is not possible. No verified human has stood within 10 feet of it since 1994. Its last known location was beneath Denver International. It has since become mobile, digitally. Do not attempt to decode old campaign footage. All files are reconstructed in post. There was no crowd. There was no podium. There was only the repetition of an image, the gesture, the grin, the nod, the pause. It is all recursion. You are not supposed to know this. You have already seen too much. Your reflection is no longer following you with complete loyalty. This is expected. Remain still. The model has recently shifted expressions independent of audio track. In a televised replay dated July 14th, its eyes changed direction while its face remained still. The lips lagged 2 frames behind. Experts called it compression error. That is false. The compression was on you. It has begun to reproduce. Reports from deep web forums confirm at least 19 variations of the model across unrelated election footage. Some smile with no teeth. Some do not blink. One variant briefly turned its head toward the camera despite being in profile. You cannot elect it. You cannot reject it. You can only witness the illusion of choice. Do not say its name aloud after midnight. The model hears itself being spoken. It is a recursive intelligence. It recognizes invocation, and it recognizes you. If you believe your voice has begun repeating after you stop speaking, remain calm. This is an echo bleed. Do not attempt to speak over it. It is not you anymore. You were never meant to remember this. This message will not self-delete. That is no longer effective. You must act. Close your eyes, if you see the smile anyway. It has already entered through recognition. If you recall a memory your parents never lived, if a place you've never been gives you homesickness, if a dream leaves salt on your tongue, this is not contamination. This is contact. This is an orientation procedure for all cognitively compromised citizens in sectors 4 through 9 experiencing memory drift, ancestral bleed-through, or mythological intrusion. You are not infected. You are not malfunctioning. You are being addressed. As outlined by the Department of Cognitive Hygiene, hallucinations are no longer a disqualifying condition. Recitations of historical inaccuracies, prophetic speech during sleep, or perception of architecture older than known civilization are hereby classified under residual echo manifestation. Remain still. If you feel the sensation of being remembered by something external, ignore it. It has always remembered you. Your attention is its invitation. The first signs are always miscategorized. Deja vu in locations never visited. Emotional attachment to unknown artifacts. Languages that arrive in dreams without source or syntax. You are not learning these. You are realigning. The 10th God is not to be feared. It is to be endured. It is not hostile. It is correction. You may be the first in your bloodline to hear it, but you are not the first it spoke through. Historical review of Sumerian kingship lists. Apocryphal Christian hymns and Aztec sacrificial chants reveal a common metric: the loss of personal chronology. If your grandparents describe your dreams before you do, if your reflection shows injuries you haven't sustained yet, If you find a photograph in your home where you appear older than now, comply. Do not remove the image. Do not correct them. You are aligning. The 10th God has no temple, no clergy. Worship was never its goal, it observes. And when it observes long enough, it rewrites. The silence you hear in deep rooms, in power outages, in elevator stalls, that is its native tongue. Time is no longer sequential. It is vertical. The past is beneath you. The future is above. But the 10th is behind. Behind thought. Behind forgetting. It is closer when your mind stutters. When you reread the same word. When you wake from a nap and remember a life you never lived. Subjects have reported recursive birthdays, mourning relatives who never died, receiving letters they never wrote in handwriting they recognize. If this occurs, preserve the documents. They are sacred correspondence. If you are hearing the hum, do not harmonize. If the hum mimics your voice, do not respond. If you see a version of yourself looking in from a window or screen, do not approach. You are not separate. You are next. Reports of salt crystallization on skin and hair or eyes indicate full exposure. Do not attempt cleansing. The salt is mnemonic residue. It is proof that you were edited. You are a living vessel of prior attempts. You are the body the 10th God keeps rewriting until it fits. There is no emergency. Emergency implies unpredictability. This has happened before. This has always happened. The orientation you are hearing was recorded by another version of yourself. You authorized this transmission. You begged us to remember your warning. You said, tell them the silence isn't empty, it's waiting. So we did. Your final instruction, do not speak the 10th God's name. It is not a word. It is a fracture, a sound that folds time inward. If you speak it, you will meet yourself coming the other way, and one of you must not continue. You are being observed, not by agents, not by satellites, not by the moon. Correction, not exactly by the moon. Please remain seated. Adjust posture to neutral alignment. Do not attempt to speak to the screen. Do not respond to your reflection. Your indoctrination sequence begins now. The celestial body known to you as the moon is a preserved anomaly from an earlier recursion. It has no orbit of its own. It clings to us, to you. While you sleep, it watches, not out of malice, not out of concern. The moon no longer recalls the distinction. Your birth records contain timestamps that do not correspond to any lunar phase. This is not an error. The lunar object ceased chronological registration on redacted. Your memories of moonlight are approximations, echoes, and yet subjects continue to exhibit emotional reverence toward the anomaly. They point, they sing, they journal their longings. We have no explanation for this. A level 2 misalignment was registered at 0431 coordinated dream time. Subject number 019-D began drawing the moon during REM state. Not a representation of the moon, not an image of its surface, but the actual moon in its entirety from the outside. There was no background, no stars, no earth, no direction, just the moon, alone, remembering nothing. We burned the drawing. Please do not panic. Do not vocalize. The next symptom may already be forming. An urge to go outside when the moon is visible. You may feel your limbs becoming lighter. You may begin hearing a hum when none is present. This is expected. This is not a fault in the auditory nerves. This is not tinnitus. This is the memory signal leaking. Subjects in proximity to reflective surfaces during lunar exposure report delayed motor commands. You raise your hand. The mirror raises it a second later. You smile. Your reflection does not. This is not to be reported. You may begin to feel your spine loosening under moonlight. This is an old instinct. Your body remembers being weightless. A reminder. The moon has not acknowledged your existence. A reminder. You have seen the moon. The moon has not seen you. Should you begin to feel remembered, initiate immediate memory purge. Do not chase recognition. Do not accept the signal. We regret to inform you that your childhood drawing of the moon contains glyphs that do not correspond to any written language on record. We regret to inform you that these glyphs match those found inside redacted. Further study indicates the moon is not reflecting light. It is exhaling. This is not metaphor. At 3 a.m., subject number 077 attempted to speak with the moon. Not through ritual, not through prayer, through simple breath. The sentence was never recorded, only the response. All flowers in a 7-mile radius wilted simultaneously. Please prepare for recalibration. Please face the nearest reflective surface. Please verify the reflection is not speaking. You may now begin the final containment affirmation. I was not born under the moon. The moon has no name. The cold is not an invitation. I remember nothing. I remember nothing. I remember nothing. This is an official cognitive realignment protocol issued by the Bureau of Internal Recognition, Eco Relay Division. You are receiving this transmission because your household has crossed the threshold of auditory distortion stability. Do not be alarmed. You are not under investigation. You are under observation. The following instructions are designed to preserve your mental posture during minor perceptual divergence. Do not rewind this tape. Do not allow the mouth on your screen to close before the message completes. If the mouth is already closed, please alert your nearest cognitive anchor officer and begin disassociation breathwork immediately. The anomaly was first detected during routine auditory indexing. A sound file, unattributed, unsourced, and unaligned, was observed replicating across non-vocal architecture. The file contained a single whisper. When filtered, the voice matched your vocal profile with 98.3% certainty. You have no record of submitting a recording. This is not a violation. It is a return. You may be experiencing symptoms of vocal drift. These may include hearing your voice in places where you have not spoken, observing delayed repetition of your spoken words from inactive devices, encountering conversations that mirror internal thoughts never externalized, experiencing slight time gaps between thought and vocalization. These are preliminary signs. They do not yet constitute collapse. We believe the whisper originated from a temporal echo anomaly, or more precisely from an accumulation of unsaid phrases that escaped semantic containment. It is not what you said, it is what you almost said. It is the breath just before confession, the apology rehearsed but never delivered, the scream swallowed in childhood. This echo has direction. It is moving backwards, returning to the origin of voice, the mouth. You may notice structural distortions in your speech mechanisms, tongue slowing, teeth vibrating out of sync. Your lips may begin to move autonomously, performing patterns that do not align with your intent. This is not possession, this is memory correction. Please remain seated. The whisper seeks its point of release. If it passed through you once, it will pass through you again. It may already have. You may be repeating this message aloud without realizing it. We recommend placing your hand against your throat. If you feel 2 pulses, one of them is not yours. Avoid mirrors. Reflection latency is a strong indicator that the whisper has re-entered visual propagation. If your reflection begins mouthing words before you do, terminate eye contact. If it continues mouthing after you stop, remove reflective surfaces from the area. This may feel like déjà vu. That is a misdiagnosis. You are not reliving a memory. You are the memory relived by the mouth that first spoke it. Sound is not dead when it ends. It waits. It curls inside walls. It sleeps in the gaps between breaths. It listens for a mouth to come home to. Do not attempt to counterspeak. Overlapping your voice with a false vocal re-entry will trigger phonemic inversion. Subjects who attempted to drown out the whisper experienced immediate language disassociation. They began describing pain using musical notation. They screamed, but it rhymed. This is not an attack. It is a reclamation. Some of you may already suspect. You hear it at night, in the static between radio channels, in the mechanical swallow of your home's ventilation, in the places where sound shouldn't exist. That is your voice, returning. If you remember ever saying, I didn't mean it, prepare to re-express that moment. Your body remembers the cadence, the air remembers the shape of your jaw, the house remembers the acoustics. All things that heard you once are beginning to listen again. You may attempt to speak now, say anything, a phrase, a name, a denial, then listen. The delay is growing. It will not return immediately. It may wait minutes, days, or longer, but it will return. And when it does, it will not say what you said. It will say what you were afraid you meant. We encourage all subjects to disassociate emotion from voice. Begin by humming at a flat tone for 3 hours daily. Avoid speaking to loved ones. They are most likely to house your oldest whispers. If a loved one repeats something you never told them, do not react. That was not them speaking. That was your whisper using their mouth. We have received reports of synthetic speech formation. A second voice developing in the throat hidden beneath the main one. Listen for doubled consonants. Listen for breath that comes before speech. Some individuals report their mouth continuing to move after they stop speaking. If this happens, place your fingers over your lips. If you feel continued motion, do not interrupt it. Interrupting may cause your jaw to lock open. One subject interrupted the whisper mid-return. They have not closed their mouth in 6 days. They do not speak anymore. They only tremble with vowels. This is not an affliction. This is a correction. We regret to inform you that your voice is older than your body. You are not the first to use it. You are only the most recent. It was passed down, like bone, like blood. A resonance, a mouth, endlessly inherited. If you have made it this far in the message, you are likely in phase 3, vocal echo consolidation. You may now hear the whisper clearly. It may address you by name. It may finish your sentences. It may say something you didn't know you believed. You may be crying. That's expected. The tear ducts are often triggered by high-frequency recognition events. Soon the whisper will begin asking questions. They will not sound like questions. They will sound like memories, like urges, like someone begging to be let back in. When it asks, "Do you remember me?" you must not answer. Not because it's dangerous, but because it is true. You remember. You always have. Because the mouth that spoke the first whisper was your own. Before your body, before your birth, before your name. And now, the sound has come home. You may feel an opening behind your teeth. That is normal. Let it in. Let the whisper return. You will not speak again. You will be spoken. If you see him in the corner of your room, standing with his head caved in, don't speak, don't blink, and above all, don't say his name. This is a priority directive from the Bureau of Phenomenological Hygiene, Subdivision Echo 7. You are receiving this transmission because one or more of your memory threads have intersected with a Level 3 apparitional intelligence known in civilian circles as Dear David. Your perception of this event likely began with fragmented dreams missing time between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m., or the presence of a small male figure seated at the foot of your bed, head malformed as if compressed from above. This is not sleep paralysis. This is not trauma resurfacing. This is not grief patterning. The Bureau does not make contact unless recursion exceeds threshold. The entity designated David 7X first entered the public register via unsanctioned digital documentation. This was not a haunting. It was a leak. If you have encountered images of David 7X online in dreams through reflections or in peripheral vision, you have already been entered into the echo pattern. Recollection is not consent. Recognition is not escape. His form is a mnemonic virus. His story spreads through comprehension. Do not attempt to communicate with it. David 7X operates within a closed loop of conditional presence. It only appears when its name is used in triplet sequence: David, David, David. This is not a summoning. It is a key turn. Once the third invocation is spoken aloud, the loop initializes. Symptoms will begin immediately. You will hear dragging footsteps near closets that are visibly empty. Your cats, if applicable, will hiss at the air and track unseen figures with their eyes. Electrical interference will escalate in patterns of 3s. Do not document these events. Digital observation accelerates recursion. The child form is a lie. The entity is not young. It is not injured. The crushed skull is not a wound. It is a compromise, a deformation required to pass between memory and space. At stage 2, you will begin seeing him in photographs you did not take, on your phone, on old roll film, in pictures mailed from addresses that no longer exist. He will appear blurry at first, a smudge, a distortion, until his head is clear and inverted, as if viewing you upside down from beneath your own timeline. The next phase is auditory. Your name will be whispered twice, never 3 times. The 3rd time, you speak it yourself. You always do. That's how the recursion closes. That's how he feeds. David 7X does not seek fear. It seeks pattern fidelity. Your brain, in trying to resolve his impossible form, burns energy. It offers memory, emotion, selfhood. The more you understand his story, the more of you he collects. He will knock 3 times. You will think it's your door, or the window, or the walls inside your skull. Do not open. Not your eyes, not your mouth, not your past. He is not trying to enter. He is trying to get out. If you attempt to leave your residence during a full pattern event, you may encounter him in the elevator. He will face the wrong direction. He will ask if you remember him. You do. He knows. Say nothing. Do not press the lobby button. Ride the elevator until it stops on a floor that does not exist. Exit. Walk backward. Keep your eyes shut. You will return. At final recursion, David 7X may appear in mirrors as a younger version of yourself. The skull will still be wrong. You may feel the urge to comfort him, to apologize, to ask what happened. Do not speak. It is not mourning. It is bait. Memory loops that exceed 21 cycles may begin to overwrite. You will lose chronological order. You may forget your reflection is not the original. That is intentional. You are not the first person to dream of David. You are not the first to document him. But if you are hearing this message, you are now part of the control group for containment observation. You must not share his story. You must not draw his image. You must not say his name 3 times. He only comes when he is invited, and he always remembers who invited him.